Welcome to Senior Break. I'm Dawn Medici with Oxford Township Parks and Recreation.
And I'm Marie May with Addison Township Senior Center. And today, my very special sister and guest is back to talk to us today, Catherine Schneider. She's an occupational therapist and a life coach. And she's going to help us realize how we can stay positive in our senior years. And it's something that's so important. It's probably come up a lot with you too,
Yes.
Dawn, but it's come up a lot in our center too.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to get
Yeah.
down.
I'm excited to learn about it because, we do have some seniors that sometimes are negative, have some negative energy, or just are not very positive when they visit us. And I want to learn, like, how can I, when I recognize that, how can I change that mood or that thought that they're in? So.
Yes, that's very exciting, Dawn, and thank you for having me, Dawn and Marie. Changing a person's state is something that we can all do, and it's very much helping us to realize the power that we have. We're very, very powerful, and sometimes we forget that. And so when we have a person who's not in a good mood, say a waitress or somebody, say we're at the grocery store and we have someone who throws our groceries and does, we have an opportunity, and that opportunity is to change their state. And that's very powerful because when we change their state, we change them for everyone that they have anything to do with that entire day.
Okay.
And so how do we do that?
Yeah.
Well, we can say something like, gee, you're really busy today. You're doing such a great job. It's a word of affirmation. It's a way to say, I appreciate you. And sometimes they've had so many people will treat that energy that they have the same way, which means they'll be treated negatively. And if you can come along and say something or help them and say, I'll bag the groceries or whatever it is, or gee, you're doing such a good job, even though there's so many people here, it can change their state. And not only have you done that for them, but everyone that they touch after that. Okay. So that's one of the ways that we can magnify our power.
Yes. All right. That's great information.
Yeah. It's
Yes, because sometimes it doesn't matter if you're a senior or not. You just have a bad day and you don't realize that you're taking that out on whoever you see next.
Yes, yes.
You know, and so it's important to know how to change that.
And then if I'm having a slow start to my day or something and I'm a little down and you experience something like that, then that change, it really brings me down, and then I might get a little angry and my response might not be a positive response. So you got to step back and take a deep breath and just
sometimes
reevaluate what's going on.
The people, I'll say seniors because I work with seniors, are depressed. They're not.
Right.
They're because we lose people, good friends. We can't do what we used to do.
Right, some of their independence that they're used to.
Yeah.
So sometimes they're just down, and you want to try to get them. So how do we?
How do you do that?
Yeah, how do we do
well,
that?
One of the first things you touched upon, Dawn, is breathing. The deep breathing. It doesn't matter how much you breathe in through the nose, but you breathe out through the mouth twice as long. So you would do, say, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7, 8, 9, 10.
Oh, to the count
so
of 10.
Whatever number you want to breathe in, you breathe in and then breathe out twice as long.
Okay.
So if you find yourself that you're around what you feel might be negative energy, doing the deep breathing is one of the really, really great things. It does more than we can imagine. Also, I learned a metaphor that really helps everyone, seniors, anyone, adults, children, everyone. It's that we have a type of, if we can visualize, a battery inside of us. It's a battery of energy. And our battery starts out in the morning, however we have it. So one of the best things we can do is when we first get up in the morning is to think of things that we're grateful for. So think of at least 3 things that we're grateful for, okay? And that helps us to fill that battery with positive energy. And then as we have our breakfast, as we start to get ready, we do things that make us feel good because we want to fill our battery.
Right.
Now, everyone has a battery, and some people's battery's low and some are high. Because we're with people all the time, we need to have ours as high as possible. Because what's going to happen is when we're with other people, our batteries are going to become equal, which means if we have a high battery, we're going to feel drained if we're with people that have a low battery. So we want to try to fill everybody's with positive energy and action so that everyone's battery can fill up. If we're, and an example is going to the hospital, which might be something that we might do more often as we age.
Right.
And as we go in and we spend an hour and a half, 2 hours with someone, and we're very happy to give them the gift of our time. And then what do they say just as we're leaving? When are you coming back? We just gave them this much of our energy in our battery, but their batteries were low, okay? And so what we realized then is I'll come back when I can, rather than feeling, oh my goodness, I just spent 2 hours with you. No, we think, you know
normal.
what? I gave them a gift of my energy, and that made them feel good, but it made me feel drained. So I have to do something to get my battery up.
Right.
And I
Recharge it.
Yes, 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 that's perfect. And just say to them, I'll come back as soon as I can. And give them that gift, because it's so easy to walk away and say, oh my gosh, it's never enough. And we don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when in the morning when we wake up, is our battery empty?
No,
Is it
whatever
where we
it
left
is.
it?
If you're a positive person, your battery might be filled. If you love getting up in the morning, you get up, I'm ready to go, I'm going to tackle the day. Your battery might be very filled. You might not have to do much to get. If you're a person who had something go on the night before, you went to bed, you could hardly sleep at night, you were so tired, you get up, you're so tired, then your battery might be low. And then you want to fill that with whatever can fill it.
Right.
For some people, it's treating themselves to going shopping if they can afford it now, and you know, whatever else that makes them feel good. Maybe reading a book, not feeling guilty about listening to music. Maybe mindfulness in the present. You know, gratitude is so important. Gratitude fills you when you think. You know, I once had someone tell me, because as a therapist, I'd work with people that were challenged. I don't have anything to be thankful for. And I said, where did you park your wheelchair? Okay. Who taught you to use your colostomy bag? Okay. These are things that people have to deal with all the time.
Right.
And other people don't feel or know how fortunate they are.
Right.
That they don't have to. So when you take a look at what it is that makes you grateful, that you appreciate, that really helps to fill that battery right away first thing in the morning. Okay.
So if your battery's high, and then it can go all the way down if you have a bad day,
It depends on who you're with.
and then the next day you can get it right back up because you're a person.
Well, see, everybody has a battery.
Yeah.
Say, like, our batteries are high.
Yes.
So we're bouncing off of each other.
Okay.
It depends on who you're with.
Okay.
If you're with a group, everybody has different levels.
Right.
But I can guarantee you that by the time you leave, you will all be the same.
Wow.
Which means that people that were high are going to feel maybe drained, and people that were low are going to say, when are we going to do this again? This was so wonderful. I loved it. Do you see?
Well, this is really interesting. We have to take a little break, though.
We do, and when we come back, I want to get some ideas from you on
Yes.
how I can start my day and trying to be in a positive way so that my battery is full when I leave
Okay.
leave
I would
the
love
day.
that.
All right.
Okay.
We want to bring a full battery home with us after work.
That
Oh, we will.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's really. Welcome back to Senior Break. Before break, we were we were leading into some ideas or some suggestions to make our battery full in the morning or to jumpstart our day. What are some of the things that you could suggest for someone like myself or anybody that they could do at home? And I have an idea, but I don't know if it's a good idea. So
Yes.
I guess my idea would be is maybe I put a sticky note on my mirror, bathroom mirror, because I get up in the morning and the first thing I do is I go into the bathroom to get ready, and maybe having that sticky note on there that on my mirror that says, what am I grateful for?
Yes, we can do that, or a
Okay.
great big smiley face.
Okay.
And we can imitate that smiley face, because what we do with our body tells our brain how we feel. So if we say, I feel great, but we're like this, our body's telling our brain, you don't feel great. And if we say, I feel great, put on that Superman stance, that tells our brain that we are feeling that way. So our physiology, or the way that we use our body, tells our brain exactly how we feel.
So who's the boss, the brain or the body?
Well, they kind of work together,
Okay.
but the brain
Okay.
follows what the body says.
Okay.
So I would do classes where I would have people be in a slouch position and say, I feel great, and they go, I feel great. And then I'd say, okay, now I want you to say, I feel awful, and have your hands up and say, I feel awful. And they go, I feel awful. I mean, it was like that. The body position. So the positioning that we have, gratitude most important, the positioning, key little things that we do. And to remember that everything we do makes a difference. Everything we do. And I don't know if you know about a concept, an idea called the butterfly effect. And that effect was first introduced, well, not maybe first, but he got the credit for it, Edward Lorenz, who said that the least little thing that we do can change everything, okay? And so being our breathing, if we imagine, because that's kind of hard, I mean, how can that make a difference? Well, if we think about the breathing that we talked about before and how important that is, and if we think about everything outside of ourselves being encased in a very fine mesh, okay, and that mesh is all over, and when we breathe, what happens? That mesh moves.
Yes.
And that gives us a feeling of what the butterfly effect is. Okay, so when we do something positive to ourselves or to other people, that changes everything. To give you an example, let's say we throw a rock in the water. Okay, we think, oh, we just threw the rock in the water. But what the rock did is it moved the bottom of the pond, which made a little bit of food come up for a fish.
Okay.
A fish comes over, eats the food, and the person who's fishing catches that fish. And that fish feeds his hungry family. So throwing that rock in the water did more than what we ever could imagine. It's the same thing with what we do to ourselves and other people.
Right. Yeah, because how we feel and how we react to things may affect those that are around you.
Yes, everyone.
In a good way or a bad way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And if you're around someone who's negative, the feeling that you would get most likely, that most people would get, would be, they're dragging me down. Okay. No, it's a challenge. I'm going to change your state. I'm going to put them up so that by the time we leave, they're going to be in a good mood, because then they're going to affect other people.
So what would you say to somebody that you, like, let's say I was in a really bad mood today. What would
Okay.
you say to me to try to lift me back up?
Okay, I would say, Dawn, every time I see you, it makes me happy. You make me happy because I'm with you, okay? You could say, you look so nice today, or you did a great job yesterday. I love the car that you picked out. I mean, it just doesn't have to be complimentary to the person.
Okay.
It can just be something true. And the tone of voice that we use makes a difference. So when we say it with a tone that means I really mean it, sincere, that resonates. When we say it like, yeah, you look nice today, that's like, no, not gonna work, okay? So the tone that we use the way that we look at things, when we look at things in a different perspective, because we all have our own perception of what goes on.
Right.
And it's based on our experience.
Right.
So if we want to change, we have to get out of our perception and go into perspective. Perspective is looking at the whole picture, not just looking at my experience and how I feel about it, but looking at the whole picture and then getting into someone else's world, getting into their shoes.
So by saying that to Dawn, you look nice and really meaning it, and that helps your battery.
It helps both.
It helps your battery too.
It helps both of ours.
So not only are you helping Dawn, you're helping yourself.
Yes, yes, because what's happening is her happiness is making me happy, okay? Like when people say, money doesn't buy happiness, okay? And lately I heard this and it resonated to my spirit. If you feel that money doesn't buy happiness, you haven't given enough of it away. Because when you give it away, say you pay somebody's rent, you buy them a little something that they need, or you give them the money to buy a book for school, and you see how happy they are, that buys happiness, okay? So being a catalyst for change, being the change, it's what we really need right now. We really need it because our world is in conflict. We really need to, each one of us has to be the change. And we can do that. Mm-hmm. We just have to know how.
Right. That's the hard part, is how do we do that? Because we've been taught and we've learned from our experiences, so a lot of what I do or what I say is based upon what I've learned, you know,
Right.
and how I would react to things. So.
Yes. Well, I have a new handbook, and this handbook is Be the Change. I just want everybody to be the change. And Be the Change shows you how. Okay? Because I've taken the butterfly effect and the love languages and the 6 human needs, gratitude, and a little bit of transactional analysis, which was very popular in the 1960s, but it's very true today, and combine them to make a recipe for change. Okay. It's really exciting.
I think the best thing that you could ever give anybody is time.
But
I think if you can give somebody time.
oh, quality time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Quality
yes.
time.
But I mean, just to take the time to say, Dawn, you look really nice today, or Kathy, your hair is just,
Yeah.
you're taking the time.
Yes.
And to me, that's the biggest gift, is the time you took.
Yes.
You know, and then that
Yeah,
that
so it's
follows
not
right away.
necessarily how much time I'm spending with
No,
you. It
it
could
be
be
a-
just taking that time
Yes.
to express something
Yes.
in a way that
Yeah.
will
Yes.
be meaningful to
Yes.
you as well as to me.
Yes.
And change their mood,
Yes.
change their
Yes.
character.
Yes, and that if you know you want to know more about that, the love languages helps with that, because affirmations, words of affirmation, saying that someone did a good job, or using the tone that goes with that, or quality time. Some people it's giving physical gifts. Some people it's quality or physical touch, giving them a massage, giving
Food.
them.
To warm the heart, right? Fill the heart.
Hey,
so-
that always works.
Yeah.
I think we're time for a break again.
Yes, I
So,
know. It's,
this is
time
really good. It's
yeah,
going by
it's
too
great.
fast.
It is.
Yeah,
Great
yeah.
information.
Yeah.
So, love
Okay,
it.
we'll be right back. Welcome back to Senior Break. Before the break, we were speaking to Kathy about,
About the love
5 love
languages.
languages. So could you just touch on that just for a
Yes.
second for us?
Well, we mentioned the 4, and acts of service was another one. When we do something for someone, and Dr. Gary Chapman talks about this in his 5 love languages books, and so we just touched upon it, but he's very, very good about it. And Dawn, you asked about how you can be positive, how you can
Right.
feel yourself.
Right.
Well, Tony Robbins, who is an author, a coach, an entrepreneur, outstanding person, talks about 6 human needs, and that when we have met those 6 human needs, that we can feel really good about ourselves. So if we take a look at them, one of them is constancy, knowing that we can feel safe and secure. And how do we get constancy? Maybe a routine.
Right.
Following, have people of like mind around us, writing in a journal. You know, sometimes, have you ever been at the dinner table where someone took your place and you weren't there?
Yes.
That's constancy. It's like you feel a little like something's not exactly right.
It feels a little off.
Okay,
Yeah.
because that constancy was kind of shaken.
Sure.
So when you feel safe and secure, you know that that things aren't going to change on you all the time, then that helps to feel positive. If that's something you don't have, then that's something you can develop. Okay.
So for that example that you just used about, like at the dinner table, and I walk up to the dinner table and somebody's sitting where I would normally sit.
Yeah.
How do I then like feel if this is okay?
Okay.
Like be open to that change.
Yes,
Like,
that's a great question
Okay.
because that hits on the second necessary thing that we need to have, and that's variety. And so variety is something that feeds us also. So when we see someone sitting at the table, we're thinking, oh, I'm working on variety. Okay, it's okay, I can sit wherever I
Right.
want to. I can do this because I'm creating that in my life, which is a second human need.
Right.
And that also gives you the chance not to be angry with them
Sure.
for
Right.
sitting in your spot when they probably knew that was your spot. But
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
That's another
And
subject.
That's really good.
That's another subject.
Yes, because that's giving you that variety. And variety, going to work a different way, making something different, cooking a new recipe, doing things that are different. And what happens with some people is they get stuck in constancy and they don't go for variety. And that's why sometimes marriages have a hard time, because they have constancy, but they don't have variety. They're not dating. They're not doing things that they used to do. And so what do? They go looking for variety. So don't let your spouse go looking for variety, okay? Significance is another one. Feeling significant, feeling validated, feeling that you mean something to somebody. And that's why when we do what we were practicing before, filling the battery,
Right.
what we're doing is we're making somebody feel significant. We're validating their existence. And because sometimes we wonder, why do teenagers, why do people join gangs? Well, what happens? They get constancy, they get variety,
yeah.
they get significance,
Yeah.
they get connection, which is the next one. Connection may be love, it may not be love, but connection with people. And this is what we lost when we were at home with the COVID.
Yes.
And this is what made that so hard for a lot of people,
Right.
especially children.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and seniors too.
And seniors.
Seniors.
Seniors,
It would
everyone.
affected everybody. Yes.
It affected everybody, and what we need to do is combat that, okay, by reaching out, by helping people to feel significant. And the next two are growth. If we're not growing, then we're dying. So we need to grow. We can grow, we can take classes, we can take courses, we can meet new people, we can travel, we can do all kinds of things for growth. And the last one is contribution. Contributing, volunteering, doing something for someone else, becoming a mentor, contributing, if you have funds, contributing funds, even giving 10 cents or 50 cents, just enough to make you feel good and that person or organization feel that you are with them, even though you might not have a lot to share.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say, when we're making these other people feel good, I just want to point out too that in turn makes you feel good.
Yes.
Because I don't want to have it sound like, you're helping me and now I feel good and you're going to walk away
Not-
feeling bad. It helps you too.
It's a circle.
Yeah.
It helps everybody. And it makes the world a better place, which is what we need right now. And we need to make the world a better place, each of us in our own way. So that because so many people that I meet now say, what can I do? Everything's in conflict. I don't know. And it makes your battery go down.
Well, for feeling burnt out on something, but you know that the end result is going to be a positive result for other people, but for me, I'm burnt or I'm spent.
Right.
but I still do it and I find a way to push through it. But it can that in itself can be exhausting.
Yes.
So this is helpful so that I can bring myself back up
Yes.
and remind myself the purpose and why I'm doing this
Yes.
and what good is going to come of this.
Yes.
Should make me feel better.
Yes, and life purpose is very important. Having goals, aspirations, and knowing that the purpose that I have, I'm fulfilling. It doesn't mean it's going to be happy all the time. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy all the time. But it means you're going towards a goal. And that goal is to, whatever your purpose is, to fulfill that purpose one step at a time. It's a journey for all of us.
Because it's really what you give out, you get back.
Yes.
So if I came up here and started fighting, you'd fight back. But if I came up here and said lovely things,
Right, or gave
loving
her a
things,
hug, or
a hug,
yeah.
then she would hug me
A
back.
pat on
Yeah.
the
too.
back,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
whatever you
Yes.
need, you can kind of,
Yes.
you know, and with the money, it was the same
Yes.
thing too.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
give a little bit and you'll get a little bit back.
Yes, but the thing is with fighting, some people, fighting fills their battery, unfortunately.
Oh.
Because that's what they were taught, and that's what they lived with, and that became a habit that, especially as we become seniors, is harder to figure out what to do. What to do is to listen, because what they're saying has some resonance to them.
Right.
So listen, and if you can honestly say, I can see why you feel that way, that would make a huge difference. Okay. Or, gee, that never happened to me. I'm glad you're sharing that with me.
Right.
See, so you don't have to try to positive them out, because the positivity is not going to work. But you can listen. And
Validate.
most people won't listen to them because they don't want to hear all this negative stuff that's going on. So if you just take that quality time, say, I'm giving them the gift of quality time, and then watch your power, because your power is going to change them. And that's why it's so important to know this, because you can take, it gives you an opportunity to take something and change it. So when someone is mean or ugly or awful, then that's a challenge. Instead of saying, oh, I don't want to be around that person, it's like, oh, I'm going to change this.
Well, that's like killing them with kindness.
Yeah.
That's what I was taught
Yeah.
back years ago,
Yeah.
is kill them with kindness.
Yes.
And it may end up being a win-win for everybody.
Yes, yes. And so taking that quality time, listening to them, saying, you know what, I'm glad you spent time to tell me about that. I never knew that before.
Right.
You know, and just giving them the affirmation of I'm glad you gave me your time.
Right.
I gave you my time. What? Yes,
Yeah.
you gave me your time.
Yes.
And time doesn't come back.
Right.
When it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah, that's true.
Did you want to summarize anything before we
Yeah.
have to wrap it up?
Golly, when
there
I go to
anything?
summary, I could talk for 3 hours.
Let's say
Well, we
about
only have
30
a few
seconds
minutes.
worth.
Yeah, we only have a few minutes
Yeah,
left.
yeah.
I
so-
tell people, when I start, you have to push the off button, because when you push the on button, I'm going.
Okay.
I guess in summary, we have to say that we are very powerful, even though many of us don't realize that. And the way that we can observe and find out that we're powerful is by using the things that we talked about. Because when we see a person change right before our eyes, even if it's someone in the grocery store, even if it's someone who has a child that's acting up in the store, and we as seniors are like, well, I wouldn't do it that way. Well, just say, you know what, you're doing the best you can. You're doing a great job, okay? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to us that he's having a tantrum.
Right.
Let him have the tantrum.
Right. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, great. Wow,
Well, this
a
was
lot
good,
of great
good
stuff.
lessons. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
very
yeah.
good. So, well, I really enjoyed listening to
Thank
what
you.
you shared with us today, and great life lessons, and things really to keep me
Yes.
going every day. So, thank you
Yes.
so much.
Yes, and
And-
look for Be the Change.
All right.
One of
Okay,
these
yeah.
days,
Did
it's
you
going to
put
be
that so she
published,
could see?
Be the Change,
All right.
because it will show us how to do it.
And it's a nice size, so it's easy
It'll
read.
be
easy
small.
read.
It'll be this size.
Yes.
And it'll
So that'd
only
be
have
good.
60 pages.
Okay.
In some color.
Yeah, okay.
So-
Well, thank you, and
Thank you.
we will see you next time.
All right.
Thank
Bye
you.
now.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.